Okay, guys, me again. So I'm back. Hopefully, you have your article now. It's called Plastic Food Packaging Was Second Most Common Beach Trash in 2018. So as I'm reading this to you, make sure that you can take notes in your notebook or on a little scratch piece of paper. You're listening for the most important parts, the things that really stick out to you. Are you noticing what the author's claim is? Are you noticing some major important, most essential pieces of information? So here we go. Oh, you know what? Hold on one second. It's asking me to sign in. So maybe you guys know me. Give me a second to sign in. Can't even see myself, so hopefully you can see me still. If you don't already have a News ELA account, then you'll need to sign up with your Gmail, which is very, very simple to do. So it says, the lowly cucumber remains crisp. Move this out of the way. There we go. The lowly cucumber remains crisp for 3 days at your local market. Wrap it in polyethylene shrink wrap and its longevity extends to 14 days. That, in short, explains the rapid growth of plastic food packaging. It is projected to become a $370 billion market next year. It's a lot of money. With those numbers, it comes as little surprise that the way humans buy and consume food is having such a tangible impact on the oceans. 9 of the Ocean Conservancy's top 10 items retrieved from its annual beach cleanups are related to food and drink. 9 out of 10 of the top items collected are related to food and drink. Just going to let that sink in. Food packaging was the second most common trash item collected during the group's annual beach cleanup in 2018. This also makes me think Temmie and Nathaniel and whoever else went on Saturday to the beach cleanup. I'm wondering if you also are making a connection here. Like, did you also see a lot of food wrappers and food containers? I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. Food packaging was the second most common trash item collected during the group's annual beach cleanup in 2018. And now, for the first time, plastic forks, knives, and spoons have also made the list. That is, according to the group's new report. More than 3.7 million individual wrappers were collected. So almost 4 million more than 3.7 million wrappers were collected. There was more than just food packaging. There were also straws, stirrers, stirrers, like when you're stirring your coffee or whatever, cutlery, silverware, bottles and caps, grocery bags and other plastic bags for food and other uses, lids, cups, and plates. The exception is cigarette butts. They contain plastic filters, and they have remained the number one item for many years. Luckily, none of us smoke, but a lot of people do, right? Cigarette butts are a separate issue, and they win the race every year, says George Leonard. He is the Ocean Conservancy's chief scientist. I also didn't know that cigarettes had plastic. If you run down the rest of the top 10 list, what strikes me is that the vast majority are not recyclable, he said. To the extent we talk about recycling as a solution to ocean plastic problems, it would have to get to 50 or 90%, which is a huge lift and gets complicated very quickly. So it goes back to what we've been talking about. How many times have we said, oh, but it's recyclable, it's recyclable. Is recycling really the answer, right? I wonder if recycling is really still the answer, or I'm realizing that this author doesn't think that, The 2018 cleanup also drew more than 1 million people for the first time. They collected more than 23.3 million pounds of trash. They cleaned beaches in more than 120 nations, and they cataloged nearly 1 million separate items. This was done by creating a snapshot of nearly everything humans make and use. The cleanup collection included more than 69,000 toys, more than 16,000 appliances, a chandelier, remind you of one of our books, an artificial Christmas tree, a garage door, and a cash register. The organization is conducting an extended analysis of data, looking for global patterns that could inform the effort to keep plastic trash out of the oceans, Leonard says. What struck Leonard about the 2018 cleanup wasn't the volume of items retrieved. More people on the beach collect more trash. But the volume of people turning out to pick it up says what the volume of people turning out to pick it up says about the issue of plastic pollution. Volunteerism is alive and well, he says, and the growing outrage about oceans is a real motivator. This year's cleanup is scheduled for September 21st. So we didn't make it this year, but we should look into it next year and see if Lagos could get on the list. Okay, so now that I've read that article to you, I have a next step for you to do. So I want you to be thinking about this text. Each of you has a copy of it for yourself. So the first step in creating a summary is figuring out what the writer's central idea is here, sometimes called the big claim or the actual argument of the author. So I want you to reread this text on your own, and I want you to think to yourself, what is the big idea? What does the writer want to argue? You might go in and highlight some key phrases. You can't underline necessarily on here. I think actually you can underline on News ELA. So if you figure out how to do that, go for it. If you want to underline text, or if you want to just kind of jot down some things on a separate piece of paper. And so I want you to be thinking, as you reread, what is this author actually arguing about? You're going to pause me in a second. I'm going to give you a chance to do that. I want you to read, take a minute, 2 minutes, read and think, what is this argument, what is this author truly arguing about? And all of us are going to go on to the working document that I have for you on Google Classroom. It's the Google Doc, and all of us right now are going to go there, and as you start typing in, I'm going to start commenting on what you're saying, and you as other people in the classrooms, I really want you guys to also comment on what at least a few of your other classmates are saying. Right now, we're only filling in what do you think this author's claim is. Capiche? All right. Once you fill in what the author's claim is, once everyone has that done, I want us to get back on Google Hangout and let's just have a little bit of a discussion together of what we really think is going on. Okay? So pause me here, and we're going to head over to the Google Doc. You guys are doing so good.